Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video. I'm your host, Jose Rocks, and today we have another episode of Spotlight. So today we want to actually spotlight the Peoria regionals that just took place this past weekend. And one of the Pokemon, first off, congrats to James Beck for winning the entire tournament. Him and Luca Treggett, they had a really good finals match. And I was really impressed with how powerful this water Ogrepon was. So for the first tournament for Regulation E, as far as an official tournament, Ogrepon Water was able to take it over Ogrepon Fire, and they faced off in the finals. And this Ogrepon pretty much got the better of it. So I wanted to go through about 6 sets of some different Ogrepons in case you were interested in trying this mon out and you wanted to, use it. I had a couple sets for you. So the first one we want to go through is going to be the one that actually won regionals, and this is the one that James Beck was using alongside Water Urshifu and Rain Dance Tornadus, right? And this was pretty threatening because Ogrepon with Ivy Cudgel in the rain is doing a ton of damage and messing up a lot of different calcs that people are calcing to be able to survive, like an adamant water Ivy Cudgel from Wellspring. And now when you tack on the rain with that, it's just doing so much damage, right? And also, it what makes it unique is that it has Power Whip and Focus Energy. So Power Whip, looking back at it, I still can't understand the reasoning behind. The only upside for Power Whip over Wood Hammer is that you don't take the recoil damage, and maybe James was concerned about taking too much chip damage and that messing up some of his damage counts as far as how many hits Wellspring Ogrepon can take. But I feel like I'd rather take the recoil than the 20% chance of missing with Power Whip, because it is going to miss. It's just like Hydro Pump. I believe it's a little bit stronger than Hydro Pump, 120 base power, but it's 80% accurate. So it's going to miss, and it's going to be games where you need to hit Power Whip to win the game. You need a strong grass type attack, and it's going to miss, right? So that's pretty scary. But what I did find interesting was the Focus Energy. So Focus Energy pretty much raises your critical hit rate by 2. And now you already have your critical hit rate raised by 1 with this move. So now you're at +3 as far as critical hits. And now you're doing a lot of damage and pretty much critting almost every time, right? I believe you crit about 90% of the time, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it's 100%. It may be 100%. I'm not 100% sure about that, though. I do know Focus Energy plus Scope Lens is 100%. Sorry about that. That's my phone just buzzing. I do know that Ivy Cudgel is raises it by 1. So the idea behind this set is that you're able to crit through screens, you crit through any boost on Pokemon, defensive boost, any type of boost that they have that may be hard for you to take out, and now you can kind of get through that. And I think it's a really cool strategy. When I was looking at a bunch of different Ogrepon sets before this tournament, I was just seeing how many different builds it can have. I never really even considered Focus Energy, but it makes so much sense when you're using it with Ivy Cudgel. So that's going to be it for this set. The next set that I want to get into is going to be the bulky set. So this set is, I believe, the most common Ogrepon set. So it pretty much is Ivy Cudgel, Horn Leech, Swords Dance, and Spiky Shield. And the idea behind this is that this Ogrepon can play really bulky and slow. But if you have it on Tailwind or a Trick Room team, then it can do really well with that, because you don't really need the speed investment because you're playing towards being bulky. And now if you have other redirection or fake out on your team, you're able to get a Swords Dance up, right? And any chip that you're taking, you could pretty much heal all that back with Horn Leech. Horn Leech heals you by 50% of the damage dealt, which is incredible. So if you hit something super effective and one-shot it, then you're getting back half of the damage that you dealt from that, which is incredible. And with that being said, you're able to take a hit and hit back and heal yourself up. And I think that's a really cool strategy, so that you can not have to invest in the speed on Ogrepon, and then you can just invest into the attack and the bulk, right? And I would say maybe go just a little bit speed. Yeah, maybe about that much. You don't even probably need that much, to be honest. I would say because you're playing on Tailwind, you just want to make sure that you outspeed Flutter Mane. So I like to calc mines by 100, because I when I first learned how to do my speed tiers, I learned by all of them being at level 100. So I mean, you already outspeed Flutter Mane at +2 with Tailwind. So if you wanted, I would say if you wanted to catch Regieleki, which is not that common, you can go 275. Like I said, you really, if you just want to speed crip other Ogrepon that are not running any speed investment, you probably go about 8 like that, right? And now you got the rest to play in bulk. Now you can play in Trick Room if you need to play in Trick Room, because you're pretty slow and you're going to be slower than like a lot of the other meta Pokemon, like other Ogrepon, Urshifu, Chien-Pao, Fluttermane, Chi-Yu. You're going to be slower than them, right? And on Tailwind, you outspeed them, right? And if you're going up against a Tailwind team, then I say this kind of Ogrepon works best when you have a Tailwind and a Trick Room option, and not just hard commit to either one, right? Because if you're going against a Tailwind team, then you want a Trick Room so that this is faster, right? And if you're going up against a Trick Room team, then you don't want to have to, you know, go Trick Room. You want to have your Trick Room to reverse it, and then just play bulky outside of Trick Room and do damage from there. And now if you're going against like a pretty just bulky team that doesn't have speed control, now you can go with your Tailwind just to be able to outspeed them, right? And I would say, yeah, definitely go Adamant. And here's the Clover Bells, because he showed me, watch this video, showed me how to like EV properly. So you want to go to just the last EV bump where it jumps twice, which is right here. So you see it jumps from 185 to 187. That way, because if you max this out, you're pretty much still doing the same amount of damage that you would be if you were right at this EV bump, right? Because this is where the attack actually jumps to do more damage. So you just keep it right there, and then you can pretty much go a lot in HP. I would say end it in a 9 to optimize like leftover recovery if you're playing alongside a Rillaboom. And now the rest just goes into defenses, right? And then from there you can just put the last one at speed. Now this is a pretty decent set. You're pretty bulky, and even if you don't want to go this, if you want to be even bulkier than that, since you're going Swords Dance, you can actually drop it down just a little bit more. Just know that you won't be doing damage without your Swords Dance, but if you feel like you're very confident that you can always get Swords Dance up every game, then you can go more into your bulk, right? And then make yourself even bulkier, right? And I would say physical bulk is really good. So you can take like a Landorus Terra Blast, and then put the rest in special defense. And I think this is a pretty good set like this, right? Maybe a little bit more on the, because you're already decent, so I would say like this, put a little bit more in physical defense, right? And I think this is, you know, a pretty good set. You're bulky, you could play Trick Room, you could play on Tailwind, and you're doing pretty well from there. So that's the idea behind this set with the Swords Dance and Horn Leech. And let's go on to the next one. So the next one is going to be a pseudo offensive / support. So the idea behind this type of Ogrepon is that you have Wood Hammer and Ivy Cudgel to deal a lot of damage from the water and the grass side, and then you have Follow Me, so you're able to redirect and play alongside other setup mons. Like, so what it does is it flexes as a good support / offensive. Like the thing between like Amoonguss, which is a grass type that has redirection, and Clefairy, which is a pretty bulky redirection with Follow Me and Mousehold. But while Mousehold can play offensive, it's completely like weak to Ghost, because Super Fang and Population Bomb can't hit Ghost, right? Well, now Ivy Cudgel and Wood Hammer can hit, you know, pretty much everything in the metagame, at least for neutral, and things that resist both, like, you know, Amoonguss, you have like other threats on your team, most likely a fire type, to hit that. Then Amoonguss tear into water, now you can hit it with Wood Hammer, right? So this Pokemon complements really well with like a fire mon, especially like a fire setup mon, like maybe a Volcarona or something like that. Anything where you can redirect away so it can set up, and then they support each other by covering each other's bases, right? Yeah, Spiky Shield, of course, to chip things that try to, you know, damage into you. They try to remove the Follow Me user, because a lot of the times people expect you to be Follow Me next to a setup, and they want to just remove Wellspring so they don't have to worry about redirection, right? Sometimes you can just Spiky Shield and go for like your Quiver Dance, right? And they double into the Ogrepon trying to remove it so they don't have to worry about redirection. And now they're in a really bad spot because you took no damage. You chip them with the Spiky Shield if they're physical, and then you got a free Quiver Dance. So I think this is a really consistent set. I think this set is the most common. I think this one is the most consistent, right? It's just as far as being like, you have decent damage, and then you're able to redirect attacks away. And you don't even have to be bulky on this set. Like, Wellspring Ogrepon naturally is bulky, like decently bulk. 80 base HP, 84 base defense, 96. That's pretty decent, right? So you can take a hit or two. Like, if it's not super effective, it's not one-shotting you, unless it's like something boosted up, like a weakness policy Ursaluna or like something like that. You know, if it's just neutral hits, they're not gonna just one-shot you. So you're pretty good at taking 2 hits from that. And I think that's really unique that Ogrepon is able to be offensive plus Is able to be offensive, plus is able to be, let me turn this down just a little bit. It's a little loud in my ear. I don't know how loud it is for you all. I'm turning it just a little bit. Yep, so it's able to be offensive and supportive at the same time. All right, so our next set is going to be full-on support. So, of course, we have Ivy Cudgel because we want to be able to deal some damage. And, of course, the crit chance is really cool. But now you're able to go Helping Hand, so you're able to boost up other mons that may set up next to you and just push their little damage over the top where, you know, they're very close if they're boosted to pick up, like if they're boosted with like a bulk up or they're boosted with like a quiver dance. They're very close to picking up that one-hit KO, but they can't quite get it because the mon that they're going against is really bulky or is hitting it for neutral. And Helping Hand kind of helps you put that last little move over the top. And I think that's, you know, something unique that this Ogrepon set is able to do. And of course, the Follow Me and Spiky Shield goes similar to this. But while this one is pseudo offensive and defensive, and supportive, but you still want to like go like max attack and speed on this, just have the Follow Me as an option. This is fully invested in bulk, no attack investment, right? So you go full bulk and just put everything else into your defenses. You don't really need speed because you're going for like Follow Me's and Helping Hands, which have priority over everything else. You know, you go like that, and now you're this is a pretty good defensive set. Like, you're really bulky. I would say you don't even need the speed. You just put a little bit in attack, and now you're really bulky, and you could probably still go. You can go whatever defensive nature you feel like your team needs. If you feel like your team has like no Intimidate and you struggle with like Intimidate, you can go more bulky on the defensive side. If you have good Intimidate pivots on your team, then you can go on the special defense side, right? It's up to you. And like, this is just a supportive set. Now, while this won't be doing damage, it has a damage option, but it's more so there to support the team. And if you want to go even more supportive and not like really carry Spiky Shield, you can also go like Taunt too, right? And you can drop the Spiky Shield and go Taunt, and that way you can disrupt like things that are trying to set up Trick Room or trying to set up spores with Among Us and things like that. And that's pretty a good counter. I would say you really don't need a ton of Among Us because you can just redirect Spore into yourself and be immune to it. So, but Taunt does shut down a lot of things that you might not expect it to. And it also gives access to Encore, but it's not that fast. So slow Encore is not really that good unless they go for like a fake out and it's onto your opponent. Onto your teammate slot. And you could go Leech Seed just to be really like bulky and disruptive. But I would say this is decent. I would always recommend Spiky Shield though. Just being able to damage while protecting at the same time and break sashes and stuff is just always really good. So for our next set we have, now this is a fun set that I just came up with. So this is going to be Ivy Cudgel and Trailblaze with Sword Stance. So the idea behind this is if you're playing with something else that can defend Ogrepon, like redirection or fake out, or even just something that threatens a lot of damage, you get your free Sword Stance off. And now, even though Trailblaze is only 50 base power, it's still coming off a stab. It's still doing decent damage to things that are super effective, but now you're getting a +1 speed boost, right? So now if you were able to like, let's say I like to do it start from 100 and drop that down to 50. So I like to go like right around here is enough speed to outspeed Dragapult, I believe. Let me just be 100%. I believe that's enough to outspeed Dragapult. Let me check. Yep. So this is enough speed at +1 to outspeed Dragapult. Dragapult's not that common right now, but that's still a good speed tier to hit. You can drop it a little bit more to like 273 if you don't really care about outspeeding Dragapult at +1. And now you can go into your attack a little bit, just a little bit, since you're using Swords Dance. I would say maybe go to this EV bump right here and bring your HP up. I would say you could put it like around here and then put the rest into defenses, right? And just balance your defenses out. Right? And like I said, I drop it back down to 50. And these don't be really EV to like survive anything guaranteed. This is just the way I like to EV, and I would say that it works for me because I'm still able to win consistently at a high level, and I'm always on the high ladder, and that tells me that my EV spreads are working, right? And it's because I don't really calc to survive like specific moves, but I calc to like just be bulky enough to mess up other people's calcs and be able to survive like a random super effective hit to survive, you know, neutral hits and just be genuinely bulky in general, right? And that's just how I like to EV. You know, everyone has their own specific way that they EV, but I don't usually, unlike maybe when I start going to regionals and I see that something's really common in the meta, I will calc specifically for that move. But for rank ladder, pretty much, you know, rank grinding, best of ones, I just want to have enough bulk to be able to survive just in general, like most attacks. So that's kind of, you know, the way I like to EV. But this is a really cool set, and now you're able to go for Trailblaze. You get +1, and now you're outspeeding a lot of things in the meta. Y'all speed everything except, you know, Regieleki and Dragapult with this much speed, but those two are not really that common, right? So you can expect to outspeed everything with this set. And now you're at +2 at +1 speed, +2 attack. Now you're really threatening a lot of things. You're causing a lot of pressure, and now you're making it a lot easier for your other teammates to do well, right? Because you're putting on so much pressure. And that's just the idea. This is just a cool set. I haven't seen anybody use it. I may give it a try. It's just something that I was theory crafting just to give you guys an extra set because I wanted to do 6 Ogrepon sets. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I think it can be decent. And last but not least, we're going to get into one of the other common Ogrepon sets, which is Ivy Cudgel, Grassy Glide, Swords Dance, and Spiky Shield. Now, this type of Ogrepon is most likely seen next to Rillaboom all the time, because the idea is that you can go for Fake Out Rillaboom, get a free Swords Dance up, and now your Grassy Glides next to Rillaboom, y'all both double Grassy Gliding, are threatening like a lot of things. Like you're threatening the most damage with yours with the Grassy Terrain boost and Grassy Glide, and then the Rillaboom is able to pick up behind what you don't KO, right? And unless they resist it, like this is pretty much double Grassy Glide is pretty much KOing everything that doesn't resist it if you're not intimidated on a Rillaboom, right? And I think this is a really unique set. It gives Ogrepon priority so that it can move first, other than just like having quick attack. And I think that, you know, it has its own niche. I think it's strong, and I think like this used on the right team can be like really overwhelming for like your opponent, especially if they don't have any grass resistances. And even if they do have like grass resistance, you have like other coverage that you can have with like Ivy Cudgel and then like U-turn and high horsepower for the fire types on Rillaboom, right? So you have ways to hit like a lot of different things. So like I said, you'll see this one beside Rillaboom a lot, and I do think that double grass is good because this Pokemon, while it does have the grass typing, it's more so a water type and has a grass like option, right? So that's what I kind of see it as, like water's the primary thing because its Terra is water, its best move is a water move, but it has that grass type secondary typing, which is, you know, helps it be immune to like spore stuff, helps it be immune to like going to sleep. It helps it be immune to rage powder, so it can be redirected by that. And I think like, you know, and it helps you also take neutral damage from electric type attacks, which are like wild charges from Iron Hands. So I think that's really unique, and I think it's a set that's also, you know, top tier set for Ogrepon. So let me know in the comment below, guys, what you think is the best Ogrepon set. In my opinion, I think the strongest Ogrepon set is probably this one, but the most consistent is going to be this one right here, the 2 attacks and follow me. But this one is going to be the strongest. This one is going to be like the most intimidating because it's hard to remove it, and it can also like deal damage and heal itself back, right? And then the other ones are just kind of niche. This one is a little bit more consistent than some of these, and that's my idea on it. Like I said, I'm questionable about the Power Whip. If anybody can, you know, explain to me below in the comments the logic why, because I can't speak to James myself, but I just want to know why he chose Power Whip over Wood Hammer, and if it's just because of the recoil damage. But other than that, thank you all for watching. If you like this type of content, leave a like for me, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, because I'm posting Pokemon content every single day. And let me know if you like these spotlight videos. It's just, you know, a quick little spin-off video from my usual Journey Through VGC series, and I just like to talk about like something that did well in the meta. If you want to see me post more spotlight videos after tournaments, I definitely, you know, have fun making these. Also, another Pokemon that just honorable mention was King Gambit. It also showed me like it was really strong, and had Luca won the tournament, I was gonna do spotlight with King Gambit, right? But since it lost and got second place and this Ogrepon actually won, that's why I chose to do Ogrepon. But like, depending on which one won, that's the one I was gonna do, because King Gambit kind of, you know, came back in this format, and it's really good because Landorus is like #1 in usage, and now you have something to deal with those intimidates, right? And I think it's, you know, especially the way Luca used it, tearing into Dark, is really strong because you lose your ground weakness, and now you're getting a +1 from Landorus. It can't one-shot you. You can go for Swords Dance, and now +3 Sucker Punch off Dark Terror is just one-shotting everything, which I think is a really good set, plus Black Glasses. So like I said, you know, if you like this type of content, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, deuces.